Backpacks are actually really cool, and don't let anyone tell you any different. Today we are going to be looking at backpacks, pouches, loot belts, all this cool stuff that this mod offers and exactly how it works. So welcome to our backpack testing lab. This is where we're going to do all our testing today, and as you can see behind me I have set out all of the pouches, loot belts and backpacks that we're going to be looking at. So let's start with the researches. So in order to fully unlock the backpacks mod, you're actually going to need to unlock 5 different researches: pouches, double pouches, belts, small backpacks, and big backpacks. Now each one of these requires the previous one to be unlocked before you can unlock the next one. So first up we unlock pouches, and then double pouches, and so on, until finally we unlock the big backpacks mod. Fairly simple, right? So let's jump into the features of the backpacks, because there are a lot of exciting things that they can do. They're basically danks with additional utility. So the pouches are fairly simple. When you open them, they give you a certain amount of inventory spaces that you can use as essentially like a shulker box. Although they are slightly better because you can just open them straight from your inventory. The double pouch is bigger than the normal pouch, the loot belt is even bigger than that, all the way up to the big backpack, which has its own scroll bar. Now each research also unlocks these upgrades, and it is these upgrades that make these pouches incredible. So we'll start with them in order, and with the normal pouches you get a pickup upgrade and a tier 1 stack upgrade. Now the stack upgrade is really cool, so let's grab some golden carrots to show you what it does. Normally when you put these into a backpack, you're only going to be able to stack them up to stacks of 64. However, if you put in a stack upgrade, that means that your new stacks can go up to 128 each, essentially doubling the amount of items that you can put into the backpack. And this of course comes in insanely useful in the vaults, because you're getting a lot of the same type of item over and over, and while you'll probably end up filling the pouch very quickly, you will be able to free up a lot of inventory space for all of those items, like the vault gear, that won't normally stack. And if that wasn't good enough for you, the pickup upgrade does pretty much what it says on the tin, and it picks up items for you. And you could toggle this on and off just by using this little lever beside the pickup upgrade. And to make this even better, you can then create a little filter for what's going to be picked up. So if we stick allow carrots and then throw a load of carrots on the ground as well as a couple of other items, you'll see that when we walk over it, it will only pick up the carrots, they all go into the inventory, and then the configurator which we dropped actually goes into our normal hotbar. Now you can flip this on its head and block carrots, so that if you throw all of the carrots out again, when you walk over it, it won't pick the carrots up at all, which can be really useful for things like mine rooms and dig sites that you don't want to pick up all of the crazy blocks. Now this filter is limited to 9 items, however you do have a match backpack contents mode. Now what this does is essentially allows you to set up your backpack with all of the items that you want, and then only items that are already in the backpack will go into the backpack. It's fairly straightforward and really useful in the vaults. And now the most important feature of the pouch is that you can dye it a different colour. Look at that! It's got a little pink band on it. And depending on the different orientation that you put the dye, you can either dye the whole thing, you can dye just the band of it, or you can dye the whole item except for the band, which makes it look really cool when you place it down like that, making it really easy to identify which pouches have which items in them. But we can go one further than that. If we have a look at these backpack settings, there's a few different things here that can come in super useful. And the one that I want to show you now is this item display settings. So what you can do is pick a color, let's go with blue. Yeah, there we go. And then click this item here. Now what that's going to do is when you look at the pouch, you're going to see the item that you've selected above it, showing you exactly what is inside. Now you can only have one item per set of pouches, so make sure you pick carefully, but it is a really useful thing to have, especially if you're using pouches as part of your storage system. Now for the double pouches. With the double pouches, you get the tier 2 stack upgrade, which allows you to 4 times the stacks that you put in. So instead of it being 128, it's now 256. 96. Now, something to note on top of this is that the stack upgrades can actually stack multiplicatively. That was hard to say. So that means that if you've got 2 upgrades, it's 16 times, not 8 times. Meaning that each stack can go up to 1024 if you've got 2 stack upgrades, or if you've got 3 of these tier 2 stack upgrades, then it will go up to 4096. Which is honestly a little bit crazy, especially since this is only tier 2 and the stack upgrades go to tier 4. Now, the other upgrade that you get is the refill upgrade, and this one is super cool because essentially what you can do is, let's say we stick some golden carrots in there. Every time we use a golden carrot, or if we throw one out, it will automatically fill back up to 64 until we run out of the items in our backpack. This is great for just food. You can do it with potions, but because splash potions have been disabled, you then need to deal with glass bottles, so it's not 100% ideal, but it is very good for food and other items like that. And again, this has got an on and off toggle, just like the pickup upgrades. Now, those are kind of neat quality of life stuff that come in quite useful in the early levels. However, once you start getting up to loot belts and backpacks, they can start becoming an integral part of your storage system. And this is the reason why. If we have a look over here, we've set up a little system using Mekanism where we've just got a pipe pulling items from a chest. And I've put a few different items in this chest just to illustrate a random assortment of items. Now, what we can do with the loot belt is we can use this filter upgrade. And what you can do with the filter upgrade is you can set it so that it can only either accept a specific item, let's say carrots, or it will only output certain items like carrots. So if we set this to allow an input of golden carrots and then place this next to this setup, you will see that the golden carrots are going straight into here, and we now have 3 stacks of golden carrots in there, but it has left everything else in the chest. Now, if we swap that to allow the knowledge star as well, it will then pull the knowledge star into the backpack as well. This means that you can very, very easily create storage systems using these looting packs. Although, do be aware, they are quite expensive to make at the moment, so just be a little bit careful, but it could be useful super late game. The upgrade that I like even better though is the deposit upgrade. Because what we can do with the deposit upgrade is set this so that it'll allow carrots, for example, and then if we shift and right click on an inventory, it will then deposit that stack of items straight into the chest. And you can also do the exact opposite with the restock upgrade. If we set a golden carrot to allow on that one, when we shift and right click, it will pull all of the carrots out of there straight into the loot belt. And this gets a little bit ridiculous with drawers because you can just shift right click, it says 1 stack restocked, but it's not 1 stack, it's 77 stacks. It's a little bit crazy. You could just quickly refill everything. And then if you want to put it back, you just select the deposit upgrade. You can stick all of them in there and then the rest back in there. And then that will be full and everything spare will go in here. Honestly, the deposit and the restock upgrades are insanely powerful for moving items around and just restocking whatever you need to. Now, this can become even more powerful with the slot memory settings, which are just found in the normal backpack settings. Let's say you wanted to just restock an entire setup that you have made in your loot pouches. What you can do is just select all of the slots here and then save the settings. And what that will do is it will remember which items were in here, and then it will fill those items up from a chest, although it does also drag some other stuff out, so just make sure you put some placeholders and things in if you don't want everything else being dragged out. You can get really, really fancy with these settings and make some absolutely crazy quick one-click setups to start going vaulting with, but I'll leave you to experiment with the settings for yourself because they are cool, but they are very in-depth. The other upgrade that you can get is the stack upgrade tier 3, so you can do 8 times the slots there, then 64, then 512, which will allow you to hold an absolutely obscene amount of items. The other one is the advanced pickup upgrade, which is basically the same as the normal one, except you can now block or pick up items filtered by durability NBT data or go by mod or item specifically. Essentially, it just gives you a little bit more control over what you pick up. For example, if I have 2 chest plates here and I want it to pick up just one specific chest plate, what I can do is go match NBT data, stick that one in there, and then when I throw both of these down, it should only pick up that one item. There we go, worked perfectly. If we want to ignore NBT data, and then when we throw these 2 down, it should pick up both of them. Just like that. There will be niche scenarios where that is very, very good. In general, it's not that much better than a normal pickup system. Okay, now we are getting on to the big boys, the backpacks. So the only new upgrades that we get in the small backpack are the normal stack upgrade tier 4, and this one does 16 times. I'll let you guys do the maths on that one. And also the void upgrade. Now the void upgrade is really, really cool. So what the void upgrade does is basically, let's say you've not got any stack upgrades and you just have 1 stack of golden carrots. If you then go to put a second stack of golden carrots, they will just disappear into the void, which is incredibly useful for picking up junk blocks. So you can set this to only work with automation or other upgrades like pickup, so that if you're actually going into your backpack, it won't void it, or you can set it so that it will void it and then it just disappears. And of course, if you've got additional stack upgrades, that means that you can go to a higher amount before it starts voiding things. Just be very careful using this, because it is very easy to accidentally void something of value and there is no way to get it back. So just make sure that you are extremely careful using this and you don't go ending up throwing out vault diamonds or something crazy like that. The others are just upgrades from the ones we've had before, so the advanced deposit upgrade and the advanced restock upgrade, they just do the same as the filter one, where you can actually set it so that you can ignore NBT data and all of that sort of good stuff that we looked at previously. And you've also got the filter upgrade that does the same thing. And when we move on to big backpacks, you essentially have the same thing with the advanced void upgrade, where you can set that one to use NBT data and durability as well. And the final upgrade on this is the feeding upgrade. Now, the normal feeding upgrade is pretty cool. So let's get rid of some of our saturation here. And if we enable golden carrots here and then set golden carrots into the backpack, what's going to happen is we'll start running around and losing some saturation, and it will automatically feed us just like that. Very useful, because then you don't need to waste a hotbar slot on food, and you never need to worry about running out of saturation again, and it also helps with healing outside of the vault. You can also upgrade this one to an advanced feeding upgrade, and this one is actually significantly better, because what you can do is you can set different thresholds at which you start eating food. So you can make it so that you're not wasting any food at all. You can set it so that if you're even a tiny bit hungry, you'll eat the food. And you can also do a health threshold so that as soon as you are hurt, it will maximize your saturation and then you will start healing quicker. Which, as we all know, doesn't work in a vault, but very good for the overworld. Now, the final couple of settings to go through are more quality of life than anything else. This one I absolutely love. This is essentially the placeholder setting. So let's say you always want carrots to be at the bottom there, but every time you sort them, they go to the top again, which is starting to get a bit annoying. Well, what you can do is just stick the carrots there, go to the no sort settings, and then click the ones that you want. And if you make a mistake, you could just right click it and it will disappear. So those are all now set to not sort. So if we then go back and click sort, it will not sort the items that are here. So even if we switch a carrot out for the feeding upgrade, it will now not sort the feeding upgrade. This makes organizing things so much better, and is genuinely just something that I would always do if there's a certain item that I always want to be in the backpack. The final one is just the backpack settings here, which will allow you to apply the settings to all backpacks if you stick it as player, or specifically this one backpack if it's set to backpack, which can be useful if you are dealing with a lot of backpacks and a lot of pouches. Hopefully this guide has been helpful for you. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. I've been Hellfire Mage, and I will see you next time.